Yes. So, Eliza, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. I hope you will enjoy also my presentation, even if you are just after lunch. It's almost like me. Yep. So. Okay.
Okay, it seems that everything is working, so you can start.
Okay, great. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I would like to present the results of the project that we were carrying on the PAS, which is Partnership for Science Education. It was open schooling project financed by in the program Horizon 2020. And this is just a small, tiny little part of the project that I'm going to talk about the effect of inquiry-based science education and the intervention that was based on inquiry-based science education on students' knowledge and attitudes towards viruses and viral infections. Okay, we all know that learning is a very complex process, that it's a process of knowledge construction that happens as a response to environment, that usually happens in social and physical context by using different sources and tools. So it means that it has very adaptive nature, and that the interaction between many agents appear during the learning process. Also, the designing of the learning environment plays a crucial role, especially that this learning environment, at least to some extent, can influence students' achievements and students' perception, and also this includes also students' communication. Well-designed learning environment can contribute to higher students' achievement as they support active engagement and interactivity and motivation for learning. If this element happens, we may, according to what we know, we may presume that we have some chances at least to receive bigger achievements in students' academic results. Yes, so environments that promotes this interactivity, collaborative problem solving has been proven to have a positive effect. One of such big methods in science education is inquiry-based science education that really is like the umbrella approach that has it all. It has problem-based learning, it has evidence-based practices, it has an engagement in authentic problems, it uses observation, scientific practices. It's basically behaving like a scientist in a classroom. So it was shown also that the learning environment where inquiry-based science education was adopted has a potential of changing students' knowledge, skills, sometimes even attitudes and motivation. In this project, we have selected the topic of public health, but particularly in the presented research, I will talk about viruses and viral infections. We all know, especially after the pandemic, that the viruses and their pathogenicity and prevention of viral disease are a kind of social scientific issues, that they are obligatory components in biology curriculum all over the world, although some research shows that they are still somehow neglected. As we learn, at least lately, that they are quite important part of our everyday life, even if normally we may not see them. Education on viruses plays also a crucial role in raising public awareness about, for example, practices, everyday practices we can use to prevent viral infections. So in this research that I'm talking about, we have collected the responses from 202 students from high schools in Poland. 166 of them participated in an experimental group with the inquiry-based science education approach, enriched also by open schooling concept. Open schooling is the idea where you make a school more open to the community, to the companies. So we were trying really to involve all the environment that is very rich from to come to the schools. So, for example, laboratories or some companies really were presenting what they are doing, how it is to be a scientist, or it is to be a businessman who works in the relation with science. Yes, and 30 of in our group participated in a control group. All participants were 14 to 16-year-old. They were attending education at 4 different schools located in a big city in Poland. And you can notice that it's the low number of participants. Altogether, we had 739 responses, but only 404 could be paired as a pre- and post-test. Yes, so this was some, as we all know, conducting research that involves pre- and post-test can be quite demanding. What were the differences between those two groups? So, for example, when we described here some elements of inquiry-based science education, such as, for example, school research project, problem-based learning, argumentation, discussions on problems related to the topic, analysis of different sources of information, especially in the lens of their credibility, modeling, group work. So you may see that experimental group had it all with the problem-based learning as a teaching strategy, and the control group had some elements in small amounts to some extent, and open schooling activities. The experimental group participated actually in all of them. The control group participated in the lessons given by researcher at our faculty. We used 2 tools, the attitude scale and the virus knowledge test. The attitude questions on the research were adopted from other research from Hatavu, with addition of two more questions that were related to the content we were teaching. And the virus knowledge test, which was like a mosaic test. Some of the questions were adopted from Newell, some from Simoneau, and the others were created by our group. In data analysis, we used the separate repeated measures ANOVA for each dependent variable, which is the attitude scale and virus knowledge test, with time, which is pre- and post-test, as the repeated measure factor, and group, which is experimental and control, as between subject factors. We also used the necessary post-hoc test. We performed a personal correlation analysis, and all of them was done in the Jamovi, which is a free tool for statistical analysis. When we talk about the results, we may say that on virus knowledge test, the effect of educational intervention was really big. Yes, we found significant main effect of both time and group. Yes, also time versus group interaction was significant. We also compared the differences on the pretest where the significance of the groups were quite similar. The differences were really on the post-test. So we could see that in the in the terms of virus knowledge test, students that participated in the experimental group really outperformed the students from control group. It's not so obvious with the attitude scale. With the attitude scale, we detected a significant main effect of time on attitudes toward viral infection. So it means that both groups have improved, but there was no significant main effect of groups, so the experimental didn't outperform, or control didn't outperform the other. And also the time versus group interaction was also not significant. So no effect of the intervention, this design intervention inquiry on the attitudes. They both did better. We also tried to compare, because part of the attitude belongs to the knowledge, so we also wanted to check whether there is a correlation between those two. So we checked the correlation between the level of knowledge about the viruses and attitudes towards viral infections among the participants taking part in the pre-test from both groups. So the result indicated a weak positive correlation between those variables. Now, we also examined whether attitudes changed among those in the experimental group in whom the greatest increase of knowledge occurred. So our analysis shows that as knowledge about the viruses increased, there was a significant positive change in attitudes towards viral infection, and this relationship was moderate. So, since we noticed that this virus knowledge test was really, the effect was significant, we are also happy with that, yes, because we know that increasing students' knowledge about viruses is essential for scientific development and health awareness, because understanding those microorganisms, if they are organisms, is another issue, but understanding viruses helps students to grasp the basic knowledge and understandings and behaviors, yes, and this can promote health conscious behaviors. What's more, we know that it, especially that such times as pandemic can repeat, so this can raise young people's awareness of social and personal responsibility. So enhancing knowledge about viruses through educational project was also proved to be successful in other research. So project-based learning also seems to have a big effect on that. When we think about the attitudes, we should bear in mind that the attitudes are not only, the component of the attitudes are also emotions. And especially if where the component of the emotion in attitudes is really big, we know that such attitudes are really difficult to change because usually they are perceived as also need to change, to bring changes in the values. So this is something that usually it's not easy to do. Yes. Of course, both cognitive and affective aspects are crucial in the progress in the process of attitude change. But we can see that emotions are also important, and especially in other research also done by one of our co-authors. They noticed that the post-pandemic time, the topic of viruses raises lots of emotions still, and those emotions are still present in the classroom. So you could notice the still like reference to pandemic time. So when we think about implication and future recommendation, we will think of designing and educational strategies that will be able to adapt and or consider emotional processing of the influence of, in this case, viruses, but the influence of the values on information retention. Like, for example, activities that allow learners to actively process their emotions related to the pandemic may reduce this cognitive resistance and foster openness to new information, but foster also change in attitudes. So in future projects, focus on knowledge and attitudes changes related to health is definitely worth emphasizing in post-pandemic world that we are facing right now. So it would be very advisable to focus more on addressing the emotional aspects of students' attitudes. So that's for me now. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question, I will be more than happy to answer.
Okay, Eliza, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's for you. So, greetings from Mickiewicz. Okay, are there any questions on this contribution? Maybe I can ask a question, or Lukasz, okay. So,
I can switch my camera here so you can also see me.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Hi Eliza, nice to see you.
Hi.
I have one quick question because you were talking about future possible projects focusing on emotional aspects. Do you plan future projects? Are they submitted now, or are they going in the process already? So it's just if you are willing to continue on the topic, and what's the plan? Thank you.
Definitely it would be good to focus on the continuing on the topic. The project is over, yes, the Horizon 2020. Yesterday we had the final evaluation meeting. And of course, I think there's a need for such project, yes. Especially in science education, we tend to forget this emotional parts of the attitudes. So definitely, I do plan to sign for the project about changes about public health and this attitude element. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the answer. Are there any other questions? Okay, so maybe my question. You have made the research in Holland, right?
Right.
Okay, so do you expect that, for example, the same research in the Czech Republic will bring the same results, or are there any differences, or do you expect any differences?
It's a difficult question, because learning is a very complex process. So I wish I could say it should be similar, yes. But knowing the situation that learning is so complex, it would be nice to check. Yes?
Okay.
Because, I don't have big experience with students in Czech Republic, yes? It's just my assumption. But I think there could be differences, yes? Especially that we tend to think a bit differently. So, as a nation, it's nothing wrong. It's don't get me wrong. It's like every nation has, like Polish people like to complain a lot. Yes. So this is also about emotions. Yes. And you are more soft, so maybe you get more sun. So you are not that that perceiving everything in the black glasses. Yes. So maybe it would be different. It would be really interesting to check.
Okay, thank you. My apologies because I'm geographer, so I'm too focused on spatial differences. So thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution.